You ready to get this shit started? I know I came in with a lot of weird energy. So
Oh, cool, dude. Weird Energy is my high school nickname. So you got to do more than that to get me off mine.
I took a lease out on your heart. I took a lease out on your heart. Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have
welcome back, everybody. We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, and together we are on a quest for dynasty domination. Welcome back to the show. This week we are going to get into some mock drafts. We're going to do our first mock draft since the rookie draft, and we're also going to compare that to our first official draft, our For the Belt draft. Those of you that know the podcast will definitely know about the For the Belt League. So, but before we crack into any of that, Dan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I couldn't be happier. It's a beautiful Wednesday and I'm ready to roll, man. I'm still in the middle of a slow draft that I was doing last week,
Nice.
and it's not going great for me. I hate slow drafts. I don't have the attention span for it. So it's going to be fun. We're in round 25 and I'm up, dude.
Geez.
I got back-to-back picks.
Who are
And
you
so I'm
thinking?
putting you on the spot, man. I'm thinking about going, this is tight end premium with a bunch of like random crazy stuff. I'm thinking about going Zach Kuntz here.
Okay. I like
Just
Zach
feel,
Kuntz as a wild card in the 25th round.
yeah, it feels right. I really want to get Mac Hollins just
Mm.
because I feel like he's the wide receiver two on that team. But there's a couple of names that jump out is potentially awesome. That Keontae Ingram's still on the board.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. James Conner. It's pretty old.
Hmm. Yeah, he's really tempting. But then there's also like Mecole Hardman is on the
Mm.
board, and so is Paris Campbell. And it's like, ugh,
At
I
that
don't
point,
know,
it's
man.
roster construction. Like, do you need more running back flyers or more wide receiver flyers at this point?
I just have only flyers. I started reaching at like round 12 and it's just not going good. I do have Jalen Hyatt on the squad and it's a best ball thing. So I'm like, maybe put Paris Campbell in there.
Okay, there you
Seems like a good
go.
idea. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to grab Zach Kuntz, and then I'm going to let us do real podcasting
Okay.
uh, because yeah, I just didn't want to be the guy that was holding up this draft, because
That's fair. There
it's
is
been going
always
on for
that
like eight
guy,
days.
and it's weird to be that guy.
Yeah, they're like we see that he's in the draft room. Maybe
Yeah.
we get some real drafting going on.
Well,
But man,
speaking of real drafting,
absolutely.
um, why don't we crack into this mock draft? We are kind of we're gonna do a 10 team single QB draft, basing it a little on For the Belt, although For the Belt does have 12 teams, so it's a little bit different there. But we're gonna crack into it. I'll go ahead and take the first pick. I think it's gonna be fairly obvious, so we don't need to spend a ton of time on it. It's Bijan Robinson. He just, I mean, everything about him going to Atlanta makes sense, other than poor Tyler Algier. He's going to get the ball all the time. They're already talking about using him in the receiving game a lot. So it's just a slam dunk, and I think it makes too much sense, especially in a non-super flex.
Yeah, and when you say non-super flex, I mean, running backs are king when it
Mm,
comes to this kind of thing. So with the second pick, I'm going straight for Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm
yeah,
excited to see what happens in Detroit with him.
yeah.
So
Makes a lot of sense. I think they're going to use him a lot, man. They see him as a weapon, not a just a running back, I think. So I think it's going to work out well. I would be really interested in Gibbs. So here's where it gets interesting because I feel like before the draft it would have been Charbonnet, a slam dunk here.
mhm.
A little bit more interesting with the Seattle landing spot. And but then the receivers are kind of like a pick your own poison type deal here. Like JSN is arguably the best one on paper, but then Seattle's in a weird landing spot. Addison probably has the best landing spot of the first round, but then I see a lot of people in on Zay Flowers. I've been saying Zay Flowers go in this spot. I think just with consistency, I'll probably take JSN. I still think he has the ability to kind of dominate, and Tyler Lockett's probably on the way out. So I'm gonna take that, but I think I wouldn't Addison, Smith, and Jigba or Flowers there. I think all make a lot of sense, but I'll go JSN.
Okay, I like that JSN pick. Yeah, I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of Zay Flowers really falling,
Really?
like real
Oh, I've
really
seen the
falling.
opposite. Okay.
And I guess I'm a believer in it. Personally, I love the Jordan Addison situation, but the lack of the Minnesota Vikings ability to successfully lose to gain draft capital
Mm-hmm.
scares me when the question marks around Kirk Cousins exist. So I don't want to see what happens next year. I'd rather stake. I'm going weird. I'm going with Quentin Johnston because I know,
Whoa.
yeah, best case scenario, this guy is with Justin Herbert for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So Mike
Yeah.
Williams struggles to stay healthy, and Keenan Allen's getting up there. So
Yeah.
just
See, that's
going
a
for
that's a
it.
lot earlier than I would go for Johnston, but I'm not the biggest Johnston fan. So this leaves me a bit more of an interesting spot. I thought you were going to leave me either Addison or Flowers, and now I got to choose between the two. That's a tough decision to me. Hmm. I think I'll go Flowers, man. I don't know. Like I know that Addison makes a ton of sense in terms of like, oh, he's the number two to Justin Jefferson, and they throw the ball a lot. But I think Flowers kind of fits into that Hollywood Brown role really, really well. For Lamar's talking about wanting to throw the ball more. And like at the end of the day, Odell is older, injury prone. He's on I believe it's still a 1 year deal, right?
I think so.
So like, okay, so he'll probably be out. I just the agility that uh Flowers has been showing off and rookie mini camps has been insane. And I just want to take the chance. He was a guy I really loved coming out of the draft. So even though I don't love the landing spot, I think I'll go him over Addison.
Yeah, they got to stop the bleeding in the receiving game in Baltimore. And new OC, maybe they can make it happen this year. Um, Man, you put me in a weird spot. I guess I, I'm taking Anthony Richardson here, man. The
Oh,
1-6.
okay.
I'm I'm just getting really hyped on what's going on with him. And then, like the Josh Downs connection, and obviously we love Alec Pierce, even though it's kind of a slow rookie year, and then Michael
Hmm.
Pittman is starting to feel like the next DJ Moore. Like we're all just waiting for him to become a top three wide receiver in the NFL. So
Yeah,
maybe they could put it all together. But between that and the run game, it just feels like a loaded offense that quarterback could really thrive in.
gotcha. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I took Addison, spoiler alerts, or not Addison. I took Richardson in our For the Belt drift. I did not take him this early, but I was happy with where I got him. Yeah, I'm all in, man. I traded, I just traded recently up from the 1-5 to grab the 1-2 in one of our drafts, and I have the 1-1 and the 1-2 now, and I'm definitely going Richardson, and it's a pretty exciting feeling. So I'm with you. I'm buying into it. I do this every year though. Every year the Colts have a good draft and I'm all in on the Colts and then they're nothing. But so then at that point, I'm definitely going to go Addison. I'm not going to let him fall any farther. Personally, I would have done probably Flowers, Addison, then Johnston. So in my eyes, Addison should have gone a little earlier here, but that's personal preference. Like you're saying, Justin Herbert, uh, he's going to be tied to him for at least 5 years now. So he's got a really good situation there. But it's, in terms of Addison, bigger question mark at quarterback. We don't know what's going to happen after Kirk Cousins or when Kirk Cousins is on the way out. but JJ taken so much attention off of Addison and Addison's ability to get open and his route running just kind of puts him he's a scary option there. And I'll definitely take him here at the 1-7.
Yeah, I don't. I think 9 times out of 10, I would take him over Johnston. I just, for some reason, just looking at it on paper, just thinking as a guy who's rostered Mike Williams a couple of times, like the opportunity is going to be there for Johnston. So, um, but yeah, here at the 1-8, I'm going to finally do it. I'm going to go ahead and take Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Um, as you were saying, it should have probably been the 1-3 in a perfect world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just not how it went down. He got drafted by the Seahawks, who just took, Kenneth Walker. So it's like I get scared. Everyone, like, that's a nightmare scenario when it comes to fantasy and rookie drafts. But when it's said and done, man, he has every chance in the world of winning that job, especially in Seattle. When it's like, it doesn't matter where you came from or how long you've been there. It's the guy that's doing it on the field, and it's gonna be hard to outdo Zach Charbonnet. It should be a really interesting competition.
I'm with you 100%. I I I don't know that he'll win that job for sure, but like I'll take that bet, especially like if you're in a startup right now. I don't have the actual numbers on this, but I would imagine Charbonnet is going 4 to 5 rounds later than Walker. And so like I don't know, man. I'll take that bet on Charbonnet winning that job at his ADP over like Walker winning the job at his ADP. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I still think he can. Like he's more complete. He plays in the passing game. He may not have like the ceiling in the running game that possibly Walker has, but I really like Charbonnet. I probably would have taken him over Johnston as well. But
Sure.
that's just it. That's just a personal thing.
Getting
But
weird.
speaking of personal things, I'm gonna go Kendre Miller here.
Okay.
I'm really sold on Miller to New Orleans. In fact, I was trying to contemplate a way today in the For the Belt to like ask that guy, the guy that took him in our draft, if he'd be willing to trade him. I think it's going to work a lot. I maybe not at first. If you can slow burn Kendre Miller, I think it's going to be really, really awesome for you. I think he's going to step in once Kamara is officially gone, and then like maybe this year, if Kamara leaves this year, at worst next year he'll be tag teaming with Jamal Williams and kind of be the Aaron Jones light role to the Jamal Williams kind of, or the DeAndre Swift to the Jamal Williams role, however you want to look at it. And I'm really into Kendre Miller still.
Yeah, it's hard not to be, man. I don't know. I'm wondering if you could be able to pry that guy away from him, because I traded him Williams right after he made that pick
Oh
so
yeah,
that I
so
could go make my moves. But you never know, man. The guy's just had a baby, so he's not thinking straight. Dude, just for the record, I am doing that startup. Kenneth Walker was the 35. Zach Charbonnet was the 11-2.
wait, so wait, wait. I you kind of cut out. So Walker was the what?
3-5.
3, 5, so 8 rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take Charbonnet at an 8 round discount over Walker in the third at every day of the week.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. All right, I'm up. I got the 10th pick here. I'm gonna stick with the running backs, now that we've broke down that wall. I'm gonna go with Devon Achane.
Okay.
Obviously, the Miami run game doesn't have the most promising history to it, but something's got to come around one of these days. Look at the fastest guy you could find. Uh, Completely kicked all the ass at A&M, and he's fighting with Jeff Wilson and shit, that other fella. So I don't think that the San Francisco reloads are going to be holding him back at all. So
No, I think I'm with you. I think you're fine with Achane. He may get a slow start, but then he's going to take over because he's just the younger version of those players. So it just makes
mhm.
too much sense. That is great for me. I love the idea that I could get Dalton Kincaid at the start of the second round, which is where I'm gonna go. I think he has a chance to start early and be used often in the Bills offense. I mean, they used Dawson Knox quite a bit last season. Josh Allen was apparently uber excited when the Dalton Kincaid pick came in. So it seems like they want to get him involved. And I just think getting that tight end who you can just start every week and not have to worry about it is a really, really nice card to play in a dynasty league.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know why I'm so hesitant to trust Buffalo. It
Yeah, that's fair.
feels like it could implode at like any moment, but no offense. All right. I don't
No,
even
you're
know.
good.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah. All right. I'm sticking with the tight ends. I'm going with Michael Mayer.
Okay.
And this guy, I don't know. Obviously, I liked him coming out of Notre Dame. Just looked like a complete monster. And then he ends up on a Las Vegas team that has some pass catchers, but Darren Waller was just on this team. Obviously, it's kind of a new coaching squad, a new quarterback, and kind of a new offense in general. But I think he's going to probably get a lot of run. Austin Hooper and OJ Howard probably not going to be able to hold this guy back,
No.
especially when it comes to playmaking. They might be out there blocking, but Mayer's going to be out there catching the ball. So I'm pumped about him, and I'm stoked to get him here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you. Mayor has a pretty clear spot to succeed and over there in Vegas. So I think it's a smart pick. This might not be. I see him falling a lot down a lot of boards recently, and I guess that makes sense when you don't have an ACL. But I'm still in on my boy Tajay Spears, so I'm going to take him here. Running backs are king in our league, like you said at the top of the draft. And I just still like him. While we were in Nashville for our draft, Danny, good friend of the show, let me in on some information. Apparently, Hines Ward also didn't have an ACL and played in the NFL. So, like, I'm not super duper worried about it. Tajay Spears may not have a great long lasting career necessarily, but even if he gives me 3 to 5 years with that burst and the vision he has on the field, as long as he can get on the field, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's such a weird situation, but it, I don't know. Derrick Henry can't live forever, man.
Yeah,
So it's just gonna have to keep on. I mean, we remember Darrington Evans was a first round draft pick in our rookie draft for this league. So
that's true.
people love to bet against Derrick Henry, and I think this is one of the smarter ways of doing that. So I'm not gonna really mess around too much here. I'm gonna keep the run going, and I'm gonna go Roshan Johnson.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know I'm getting a little feisty here, getting a little ahead of consensus, but I like Khalil Herbert a lot, like a
Hmm.
ton. But just everything Roshan did, his elusiveness and just his abilities with the ball in his hands is it's unreal, and it's gonna pop off, man. It's gonna be a thing, and us Khalil Herbert people are gonna be saying Khalil Hubert pretty soon, man. It's gonna be heartbreaking, but
Gotcha. Yeah, Roshan definitely has a fairly clear path to starting. Herbert's gonna have to show out to beat him down. And yeah, you're right. I don't know that he has the ability to do that on a weekly basis. Not enough to keep Roshan at bay the whole year.
mm,
So yeah, he's probably gonna get in there at some point. Like are for the belt draft, it may be one of the most obvious whiffs by me is going for Spears, a guy with no ACL, and then with Roshan on the board, I did it twice. I did it in the for the belt draft, and now I've done it in this mock draft. So if that flips on me, but it is what it is. We say it all the time on this podcast. You got to go get your guys, and that's what I
100%.
did. So, right here, I'm actually gonna do it again. And I may have gone Bryce Young here. but the sizest in me just can't do it. The mini camp videos came out of him running around back there, and he just looks so much smaller than everyone else on the field, and it drives me crazy. But these quarterbacks can't keep falling forever. So I'm going to take CJ Stroud. I still like Stroud a lot. Richardson has the upside, and definitely I think he's worth taking in the first round with his running ability. But in terms of who I think has the best chance to succeed, I still think it's Stroud. I think his ability to place the ball where it needs to go, as long as he can build a team around him, I think he'll be good to go. And he doesn't have the size issue that Young has, or the like inconsistent accuracy issue as Richardson. He has his own issues, but I think his ceiling or his floor is a little higher than these other two guys. Maybe not as high of a ceiling though.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how you really want to look at it. I feel like Young has a better supporting cast,
That's
but
true.
we don't have
That
to
is
talk
true.
about Young right now because I'm going straight into his supporting cast. I'm going Jonathan Mingo here,
Okay.
the 2-6, and I mean this. I am tickled. I went into our for the belt draft with the 3-6 and no other picks, and I was able to trade into the second round and get 2 picks. Yeah, I had to give up next year's second as well as a Jamal Williams, as I mentioned earlier. But I was able to get these last 2 players we drafted with CJ Stroud and Jonathan Mingo. So,
Oh yeah.
um, yeah, Mingo, it is what it is. Old man Thielen, you got Chark, and then TMJ. So one of these guys is going to pop, and I think it's if Mingo can secure the ball and up his athleticism, I don't see why it wouldn't happen for him.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, Mingo's got a chance. I do think Chark is a sneaky name that not a lot of people are talking about on that offense. But you're right. TMJ is there. Thielen is old. Like there's still gonna be room for Mingo to show up. And when I was looking for pictures for this episode to kind of put some media content together for it, it was hard for me to find a picture where Bryce Young and Jonathan Mingo weren't standing next to each other at rookie minicamp. So they're already kind of developing that. So I like that from that angle a lot. So I think Mingo has a pretty good chance. He looked good on tape coming out of college. So it'll be interesting. On that note, I'm not going to let Bryce Young go any farther. I'm going to go ahead and take him here. Size be damned to a point. He's just so talented, and just understands the position, and it's hard to let him go any farther than this.
Okay. A player that I've seen slipping that I'm going to go ahead and catch right here is Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, I personally took Jonathan Mingo over him, which I only did because I had Sky Moore on the roster, but
Mm-hmm.
um, he could be the wide receiver 1 in this offense real fast. I mean, obviously Kadarius Toney has a lot of potential, a lot of flash and whatnot, but like there's nothing really necessarily saying that he's going to be on the field consistently. Same thing for Sky Moore. MVS, like he didn't really have that great of a year last year, so the opportunity for him to take this job and run with it is just glaring. So
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's an interesting one that he doesn't seem to be getting a lot of pop. I think it's the I think recently people have gotten all over the Chiefs draft picks, and they haven't really gone all that well in terms of fantasy. And I think maybe there's a little fatigue there, in terms of immediately tripping over themselves to get the Chiefs guy. But I'm with you. I think Rashee Rice kind of slots right into where Juju played last season. So there's an open spot for him right there. Not going to really take a lot of time for him to see the field, and he was a consistent player in college. So I think as long as he's consistent in the NFL, like with the inconsistencies along that offense, not from everybody outside of Mahomes and Kelsey last season, like he could kind of play his way into that role fairly easily. So I'm with you. I like it a lot. I'm gonna flip this and I'm gonna go back to tight end. I'm gonna take Sam Laporta
Oh, dude,
um
fuck.
here. He's been looking great in rookie mini camp so far. Voted the best player on the field by the Lions staff. Or I don't know if that was like a real vote or whatnot. I just saw it as a headline. I don't want to sound
I
like an
like
idiot, I
no.
guess. But I do think, man, like there is nobody in that tight end room. I know we got excited about some names last year. Was it James Mitchell at the end of the year? Was it James Mitchell? Yeah, whatever. Like there were bodies there. There are people, there are human beings with names that play tight ends for the Lions, but I would challenge anybody to name anybody other than Laporta on the street. I just think he's going to kind of slide in and be the immediate uh go-to tight end there. And then like there's not, with Jameson Williams being suspended, Gibbs is a rookie, Laporte is a rookie. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown basically, and then two rookies to rely on. So I think they're going to use him early and often, and I like getting him here at the end of the second round.
Yeah, I'm a little miffed, pal.
Sorry.
I now I've done a startup and a rookie draft, and now this mock draft, and I'm a huge Laporta fan, and it's just not happening for me. So, um, you could say I'm a little upset. You could even say I'm a little Josh Downs about it. So,
Hell yeah.
um, yeah, I'm going with Josh Downs to in the second round. Yeah, all the things that we wanted Paris Campbell to be. I feel like Josh Downs can step in and be, hey, he could be the next Ty for the Colts. Or I don't want to go that too far, but the rapport with him and Richardson is clearly documented at this point. So
Mhm.
um, it's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be a long leash on that offense as far as Richardson just having his own kind of say. And man, Josh Downs, if anyone can adjust to a ball, however accurate or
Inaccurately
or
it gets there.
inaccurate, yeah. So I think he complements that style. I know I've said that before, but it's got me a little hyped on him.
Nice. No, I'm with you. I like him a lot. He was who I was looking at other than Laporta there. So I think we were both kind of in the same mindset of where we wanted to go. Yeah, he kind of fits in, you can move him with Richardson if you like move Richardson around, like rollouts or trying to get the ball on the move or the attempted run, like you can move Downs with him. And I'm with you. I think it fits really well. I'm gonna flip us back to running back here, get us back to been a while since the 2-4 since we did a running back.
Yeah.
I am gonna take Chase Brown here.
Okay.
I think the Cincinnati uh running back situation is really interesting. Joe Mixon been getting in some trouble recently, is older for a running back, and Chase Brown kind of comes in, and I think he's almost already the number 2 in the depth chart there. Had a really, really awesome combine, like in the 90th percentile, and like most of the workouts, if I'm not mistaken, for Chase Brown. So I like the potential there. And at the top of the third round, like this is where I think you can find some sneaky value at running back some years. And I think Brown is one of those guys.
Yeah, especially Samaje out of town, and he had a good
Yeah.
year even with Mixon. Um, so shit, that's a good call. That's a good call, buddy. Um, I'm gonna get weird again, like I always do. I'm going with Jaden Reed,
Okay.
just because I really like the talent,
Yeah.
and I mean it's such like we've said, it's such a young team.
Hmm.
Obviously, Christian Watson's going to be the number one.
Hmm.
There, I finally said it. Okay. Uh, and then Romeo Dobbs, who I've been a huge fan of for quite some time. Um, I feel like he could be challenged by Jaden Reed just because of his. I don't know. He's just a hell of a football player.
Hmm.
It popped off the tape, and I think it's gonna pop off with the Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers. So
Yeah, and I was talking all off season. Obviously, I was a huge proponent of getting JSN at the top of the first round for the Packers because he paired really nicely with Dobbs and Watson. And the same thing could be said for Reed. I'm not saying that Reed is JSN, but like he kind of fits into the middle of that offense, can fit in with those three guys. And Green Bay seems like they're pretty much going to let these rookies play. You're going to get a lot of playing time out of these guys. You're definitely going to be able to see them and decide whether or not you want to roster them going forward because these guys are going to see the field. And so I like it. You're getting a guy with really, really good playing time in the at the 3-2 there. Ooh, I want to I want to go back to running back here probably. Um, and Tank Bigsby is an interesting name. He's getting a lot of pop recently. I think I'm still too scared with Etienne there. So I'm gonna stay away from that, but I will go Zach Evans here. I think he's another interesting name in terms of the running back. Oh, I think you need to put the guy you took,
Yep,
Jaden Reed at 3-2 there.
that's
Um,
cool.
Zach Evans is interesting. Cam Akers came on at the end of the year and kind of solidified his role, but then he also has been up and down. So you bring in a guy uh in Zach Evans to kind of shore up that secondary spot, but if he starts to slide down or starts to kind of have some issues, you never know. Zach Evans can come in and take over for Cam Akers fairly quickly.
Yeah, damn, dude. Zach Evans, Cam Akers, what's gonna happen? I just hate. I'm so scared of the Los Angeles Rams backfield these
Yeah.
days, man. After what's been happening there, the turnover and just inconsistency.
A hundred
Nah.
percent. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Tank Bigsby,
Okay.
um, running back out of Auburn. As you say, he's definitely not going to be putting Travis Etienne any further down on the depth chart.
Hmm.
But there's this thing where I just hate to be wrong, and so being so out on Bigsby, just give me a share, man. Just give me one share. And if it's just this mock draft, then I'll be like, well,
Sick.
I talked myself into it and
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't have anything too fancy to say about him. I mean, didn't really care for his run style,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah,
see
that's
how it
fair.
translates.
All right. So there's a few names here, and I want to try to highlight them all, and we only have 5 picks left, so I may get a little weird here. I am gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take Luke Musgrave here. I think he is getting slept on just a little bit. I was pretty high on him coming out of the draft. He was a top end of the second round pick. He definitely is going to get used in the Green Bay offense. And again, just like Laporta, the only guy there competing for touches in the tight end room in Green Bay is Tucker Kraft. And he's the other rookie this season. So from that angle, I understand why people are a little scared, more scared of Musgraves than the other main guys. But like, man, before the injury, everybody was in on this guy. He came back, he looked good, he tested the combine well. I think you getting really, really good value in the third round with Musgrave.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Games he played before getting injured this year were just off the charts. So
Yeah.
got to give him that. I'm going to go with Jalen Hyatt,
Okay.
which I mean, I don't want to pull up our pre NFL draft mock draft to see. Let's see, Jalen Hyatt, the 110. That was probably me. But yeah, that's a far fall at the 3-6. Because he got the third round capital, wasn't really
Hmm.
that hot, and then he ends up in um, what I would call a bucket full of C pluses in the New York Giants wide receiver room. So he could easily be that guy. But as I was talking about at the top, like it could be, healthy Paris Campbell finally gets his stride,
Yeah.
or aging vets, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, hold down like they always have. It's unpredictable and it's not very comforting, and so that's why he's dropping a solid 2 rounds here.
Yeah,
So he'll have to hold that Bolitnikov trophy.
pretty tight.
Yeah,
Pretty tight
because
at night.
guy peaked in college, man.
It
So
happens. It happens to a lot of them. It's all right. You never know. There's not a lot of bodies in New York. So this is where gets interesting. There's a bunch of names. Um, I want to throw out Levis. I'm not going to take Levis because I do think it would be disingenuous in a single QB league, but I do think he's getting slept on just a bit. Like I get he was a second round pick. The Titans were trying to trade up in the first round and take him, and he plays very similarly to Ryan Tannehill. So I know in superflex leagues, like people are eating him alive, I'm sure, in the second round or possibly even late first. But I just think he'd be worth a flyer in terms of like, oh, let's get a consistent guy in here who can get me 16 points on my starters by week, or like if you're doing a streaming QB option. So I do want to throw him out, but that's not where I'm going to go. The value here on Marvin Mims is too tasty for me. So I'm going to go Marvin Mims actually at the 3-7. Sean Payton's first pick as the Denver Bronco head coach. This is going to be the one that makes me the most foolish from our 64 tournament. I ousted Marvin Mims in the first round, and I don't even. That one's going to look real dumb because it looks like they're going to use him. There's been for 2 straight years question marks about whether or not they wanted to trade all the receivers in Denver. So I just think it makes too much sense.
you Trey Palmer truthers really coming out of the woodwork, man. Um, okay, well, I'm gonna take Israel Abandakanda
Okay,
off
makes sense.
real quick, and this is 100%. Like the guy's awesome. He kicked ass.
Hmm.
He's getting beyond buried, being behind Brees Hall, but Brees Hall's
Yeah,
come back from injury. Obviously Michael Carter's still there, but I think Abandakanda has the ability to take a spell carry and turn it into a touchdown.
yeah,
And and that's the kind of shit that gets you in regular rotation in the running back room. And I think they're all for it. I wouldn't be crazy. It wouldn't be crazy to me if Brees comes back healthy to see Michael Carter get ships somewhere. So,
yeah. I'm with
but
you. I think Izzy definitely has a chance to be the second guy there, fairly easily, actually. Poor Michael Carter. And so last here again, like toyed with the idea of Will Levis, but it's disingenuous for me. I'm gonna go Eric Gray here. I'm a big running back guy, clearly, and I just think the idea that you could get Saquon Barkley's potential backup. I mean, Eric Gray has to beat out Matt Breida, who I like Matt Breida. He's a good player, but
who doesn't?
he's not unbeatable, obviously. And then Saquon Barkley, not only does he have a contract issue going on right now,
Yeah,
he also is fairly injury prone. Like I know last year he didn't get hurt, and that's awesome, and I hope it continues. But like history says this guy might get hurt. So like the idea that you could get his backup at the second to last pick of the third round, I'm in on that.
yeah, yeah. The fact that Saquon played a full year last year uh, kind of lends itself to this being a shortened year. The way he bounces up and down, but that's a good pick, man. This is tough for me. I'm gonna do it. I'm kind of heating up on Keishon Butte,
Okay.
wide receiver for the Patriots, and this is just me thinking. I see a guy that was at the top of everybody's list for a long time, and obviously he struggled a little bit kind of boneheaded at times as well. So it's just kind of a weird situation where you can't be really too high on him. I don't know if you can trust him for real. But
Mhm.
then when he goes to the Patriots, it's like, well, shit, like you're either gonna get your shit straight and do what you got to do, or you'll be, I guess, the next Nikhil Harry or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's not even the same. It's like a 6 round draft pick. But if you're looking at that wide receiver room, they bring in Juju, right? Mike Gesicki is probably going to get a lot of play there too. But then it's kind of the same old guys. I think Devonta Parker's still on this team. So it's not a lot of depth at the wide receiver. So if he can be that all star, that superstar that he was showing the potential to be when he was a freshman at LSU, I think he could really be a steal at this point in the draft.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I'm kind of out on him myself, to be honest with you, but like he's
Sure.
worth the last pick of the third round as a flyer, like 100 for all the reasons you're saying. Like there's a need outside of Juju, like every other position in the wide receiver room in New England is open for grabs. Like if he came in there and, like you're saying, played like he did when he was a freshman, then yeah, he's probably going to take that job and be fairly successful. Um, so yeah, that wraps it up though. That's a 3 round 10 team draft. There's some names out here, man. Dwayne McBride is super interesting with all the Dalvin Cook news. Elvin Hull as Jonathan Taylor's backup. Cedric Tillman is out there. Will Levis, as we mentioned. Michael Wilson, Parker Washington. There's some interesting names. Xavier Hutchinson
Mm.
also out there. Tucker Craft. Like there's some value to be had late in this draft, I think, was my point there.
Yeah. Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce
Uh,
Vaughn.
that's that's one where Tony Pollard's injured. Depth chart there is like Ronald Jones
Yeah,
and
that's
a
fair.
bag of peanuts. So not really NFL form as far as the size goes, but there's a lot of potential there for him to beat out, Malik Davis or whatever. It's like,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
so
A few of these running backs is going to get some playing time. They always do.
yeah, man. So we want to look and see if we got any major discrepancies from our recent
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah, we can. I've got it pulled up if you don't already. So off the top, we were the same first three picks.
Mhm.
Robinson, Gibbs, and JSN. We had a bit of a switch here.
You're
You
welcome.
went Johnston there, but Johnson went at the 1-5 in our league. So somebody was equally high on Johnston, but Addison went in front of him. So we had Addison at the 1-4, then Johnston.
The Johnson
Um,
guy also took Traylon Burks last year, so he's just
he's into the big guys.
doubling down. He's got this.
Here's our first major discrepancy, though, for sure, is Zay Flowers. I took him at the 1-5 in our mock just now, but in the for the belt draft, he went at the 112, which now looking at it is fairly interesting that I'd take him at the 1-5 here and not take him at the 111 when I had it. But I may end up regretting that because I do like Zay Flowers, and the same guy that got Addison got Flowers, so he's looking pretty good right now. Um, Another discrepancy, real quick. Dalton Kincaid went at the 1-6. He would have gone at the 2-1 in our draft, so basically the 12th pick, 6 picks later. Then fairly back to normal. Anthony Richardson in our Mac just now went at the 1-6. He went 5 picks later at the 111 in the for the belt draft. Everybody else fairly close, to be honest. Where did A Chain go?
A
Oh yeah,
Chain's
A Chain went at the 1-9 in the for the belt draft, and he went at the 110 in our draft. So fairly similar there.
it's almost tit
Um,
for tat.
Tajay Spears went at the 2-1 in the for the belt. He went in the 2-3 in our draft, but that's exactly the same pick if you count
Mhm.
numbers. And Roshan Johnson went immediately after him, followed by shortly after Stroud, Mingo, and Young, which is what happened here. Rashee Rice in our mock draft went earlier than those other guys, but still kind of in the same area. Yeah, kind of the second round. I'm not noticing anything crazy. Marvin Mims
Yeah,
going
Mims
in
is
the
a big
middle.
one.
Yeah, so Mims is the only one. He went in the 2-6 for the belt draft. And in our mock just now, he was at the 3-7. Arguably probably should have gone earlier than that.
Yeah, Tank Bigsby at the 2-4 in our
Oh, that's
actual
right.
rookie draft versus
That,
the what would have been the 212 and if you convert it.
yeah, so basically Tank Bigsby went 8 picks earlier than we just took him, which is interesting in the for the belt draft. Tank Bigsby's a good player, but I like Chase Brown and Abandikanda and Gray and Evans probably better. But I'm still a pretty big Etienne fan. Another big thing, Sean Tucker went in the for the belt draft in the 3rd round. He did not go in our mock draft. It is an interesting name though to back up Rachaad White for sure. Tank Dell did not go in our mock draft, but went at the 3-6 in the for the belt draft. That's another name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
other
it.
than,
I mean, dude's
other,
fun, but that.
yeah, 3rd round Flyers.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kept it pretty tight. I stand by. I think Kincaid went a little high. I'll give it that. Zay Flowers definitely slipped. But yeah, I mean, we weren't cheating, but consensus I think is pretty close to what everyone's hitting right now. So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing, man.
Well, all right. So that is our first mock draft after the actual NFL draft and our comparison to the for the belt draft. We're going to start getting into some newish content next week, I think is the plan. We'll kind of keep that under wraps until we actually know what we're doing. So you guys will find out exactly what we're doing next week. But obviously, we'll be keeping you up to date with mocks and rookie news and everything going on. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Excited to start the season. Excited for our other leagues to start drafting.
Yeah, man. I couldn't be more excited. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
it is what it is.
Fair enough. On that note, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll
Yes.
have our Twitter handles and everything on the video, so if you want to go follow us as well. But other than that, we have been Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, and we will see you next week.
We're out.
Peace.
I took a lease out on your heart. Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have fun? I took a lease out on your heart. I took a lease out on your